Hello guys, how are we doing and welcome back to the channel. Today we're reviewing yet another subscriber's gameplay in the hopes of letting them improve as a MW3 ranked player. If you want to submit a gameplay for me to review, feel free to just fill in the form down in the description below and yeah, I'll add you to the queue. So today we're going to be looking at Harrz. I apologize if I absolutely butchered your name, but they're a Plat 1 gamer on New Gen, and this is actually their first comp season in Call of Duty. So this is going to be a very interesting gameplay for those of you who maybe aren't fully comfortable with comp. This is going to be a good analysis of someone who's completely new to it. So yeah, we're going to be looking through the rest of this form shortly, and then we're going to get into analysis of the gameplay itself, and then I'm going to be offering some just general tips and tricks in which I think they could be taken on, and then a potential rank in which I see them achieving by the time MW3 finishes. So they're on New Gen console. Plat 1 is their current rank. They didn't play comp last season, so as I say, this is their first season of any sort of comp CODs. This is, as I say, going to be quite interesting. They're playing a 5.6 sensitivity with a 0.75 ADS. Little on the low side, but again, it's completely personal choice. This setting here is, unless it's completely outrageous, is completely personal choice. So if this is what you're comfortable with, roll with it. FOV is 105, which again is pretty good. And then the setup seems pretty good. You've got some back paddles on your PS5 controller. You've got a 24-inch 180Hz 1ms monitor. So you're going to be getting 120 frames with 1ms there because you're on console. That's perfect. And then some cracking headset as well. So what would you like me to focus on in your gameplay? Positioning while rotating to different hard points, gunfights, and reaction times. I feel like my rotation isn't as good as it could be, since I always tend to run into enemies when I think there are none. Also, mostly I get shot in the back when I don't expect enemies to be there. Also, my dead zones don't feel that good. I have it on 10 and would have no strict when putting it on 2, but just feel like my thumbs are too shaky to stay on target. Okay, so we're going to be having a look at your gameplay, but the main thing we're going to be focusing on is positioning while rotating to the hill, and not sure where enemies are going to be. Now, if you're new to comp, which you might, as I say, which you definitely are, based on what you've put up here, there's a lot more to the game than you would have probably experienced in pubs. But let's have a look at the gameplay and see what we can look at. So we're looking at Skid Row Hardpoint, a really nice map to start this on. And you're already rotating to P2. Now, my concern is, I'll just give you a little bit of a heads up. By the time, zoom back here, by the time you're already at this, if you ran directly to this forklift truck, they're pretty much going to meet you here. So as you're running across this, if you've got to the forklift truck and you don't see anyone, it's worth lingering a little bit. So just timings wise, because obviously if anyone's sprinting through tunnel, they're going to meet you pretty much just after where you are now. You've got to pretty much get to the forklift just here before they get to the tunnel. So you've probably got a really bad time in here because you've thrown the nade and run away. If you'd have run to this forklift and pre-aimed tunnel, you'd have probably got a free kill if they are pushing this way, but that's just a little hint on timings. So the reason I say that is because I believe you've probably got awful timing. Yeah, I have just heard the door bash beneath you. You've then had someone hopped up here. And the reason that's all happened is because you've just not got the timings down to a T. So that's going to come with experience, but just for future knowledge, if you run to that forklift, that's at the point they're probably going to exit the tunnel. So that's when you should be looking for them. The fact you didn't quite get to the forklift and then you didn't see the exit out of tunnel means that they've got pretty good timing on you, and you've lost the rotation. Now, I don't mind going to P1 here whatsoever. In fact, when I played in like leagues and whatnot, it's often a good strat to send 4 at P1. If you can get 50 seconds at P1 and then hold ticket spawns, you're in a really good position. But the gameplay here looks really nice. Your movement and your positioning is really nice. Obviously, I'm going to touch on things generally as it comes, but what you notice is that an enemy team, well, your teammates just died, but an enemy member has just died. So on P1, this is 90% of knowing where enemies are is based on knowing spawn. So if you haven't seen my spawn guides, I would recommend checking them out. But your teammates are sort of tunnel, which is going to be blocking you. You notice an enemy just died, pretty much this guy here, the EA. They died, and then as they're spawning in, your teammates are blocking tunnel. So chances are they're going to spawn P3. But then look what happens here. your teammate hasn't quite spawned where you'd have expected to spawn. If you remember when you just spawned in, you spawned pretty much just outside the blue doors towards this top left here. So chances are your teammate's not been able to spawn there, and the reason why he spawned all the way back to laundry is because potentially someone has spawned here. So I would be expecting someone to be pushing through the side, but we'll see if that is the case. It's not. Perfect. That's fine. They may have just rotated to new. That or they got a deeper barber spawn. Lovely shots. Good use of a side cancel. A really quick, snappy side cancel. I'm nervous about this, so let's take a look at the kill feed here as you're running through. That's one down. If you count to 1, 2, 3. That's 3 down. That's 4. That's 3 down there. And the third and the fourth guy's here. Now, your team are blocking ticket spawns. As a result, I would expect the enemy team to be spawning behind you in tunnel. So yeah, that's fine. That's fine. As I say, you've got to try and learn the spawns where you can, because that's going to just give you the biggest information possible, the best or the largest amount of information possible. But yeah, I like the pre-nade there. The gameplay itself is really good. Like, you're shooting really, really straight. I'm surprised you're only plat 1, I've got to be honest. Maybe it's a really good game for you out of your portfolio, but generally speaking, I've seen a lot worse shooters in Diamond for sure. Again, really nice shots. I would normally recommend waiting to heal before challenging out of heal, but hey, you won the gunfight, who am I to tell you otherwise? And then you get all of the heal time there. Okay, so let's see how we rotate. So on this hill, the two main spawns are tickets, so which are sort of here. If you imagine the mini map extends this far, about here, and then you've got one back laundry as well. So assuming the map's the whole thing, you've got one like back laundry just here. So if you are this side, you can assume they're going to be spawning in the laundry spawn. But if you're that side, or if your teammates just spawn that side, you can almost assume they're spawned the other side. So that's something just to bear in mind. So seeing the biggest clue is obviously where your teammates spawn is. So your teammates just spawn behind you here, which tells you that the enemies are pretty much going to be coming from laundry side. Now, some of them might decide to run up middle towards the top and then chow from the mid. They might decide to flank, so it's always worth checking every avenue anyway. But yeah, so far, you've got maybe 3 successful rotations in a row, potentially. Now, this should be something that rings alarm bells. You're getting all these kills here, and your teammates are spawning laundry, which tells you a massive thing. It's a massive hint. They're probably going to be behind you. But I think you got the gist of that. You understood that was the case, and you ran. So I think that's a really nice, you've played that quite well. The only thing is, it was a little bit of a bizarre chow. You wasn't quite sure where they were. I think you pre-fired the body on the floor. Yeah, you did. So if it weren't for that body on the floor, you would have perhaps killed them. But yeah, that's rough. That's tough. That's fine. But you know what? There's 20 seconds left. If it were me, I'd have probably shouldered that, checking where they were, and then maybe rotated round, hopped out of the plat, and then chowed from there. But okay. So you're approaching a hill. So you've had a couple teammates down. You've only really been challenged by one person at the new hill, or the old hill. And since you've been sort of playing around P3, a few enemies have died. Now, you should be getting the sense that they're probably going to start rotating to new. Now, if you've got these good spawns, they're going to be spawning just outside a tunnel. So it's very tempting when they spawn in with 20 seconds left. They're just going to run down tunnel, cut their losses off at old, and play for new. You then get further information of an enemy at new, because your teammate gets killed, and you notice on the minimap, the kill feed, he's got a submachine gun. Now, you do not have a submachine gun. Chances are, if you're running into this building, even if it's a one-on-one, you're going to lose the gunfight, because you've got an AR, he's got a submachine gun. It's simply the better gun for the situation. So I would have liked to have seen you use attack, a frag or a stun, just to get info. I'd have probably stunned, bounced a nade off the door into the room, and then challenged with a Renetti, just so you get that maneuverability. I know when you eventually challenge, there's 2 of them, and you do get the kill anyway, but that's probably how I would have best played that. A way you could have improved this tiny little gunfight, just for like next time, you've just got the kill, and I guess you don't know people aren't there, but you may as well stay pre-aimed. You may as well. Like, there's no harm in just assuming they're going to be there. I see a lot of people go, okay, if I don't think they're there, I'm simply not going to aim there. What do you lose by pre-aiming? A few seconds of time. You're already on new. It's not like you need to get anywhere. You might as well pre-aim just in case. It doesn't hurt anything. So yeah, you may as well have pre-aimed there. Just that's a nice habit to try and get into if you can. Now this is a really hard hill to break if you're an AR player, because it's a tiny little room with a few corners, so it's really quite difficult. Now on this hill, I'm gonna get my pen out again. The two spawns are, well, the two main spawns are tunnel and sort of back laundry side, which I'm imagine the minimap goes all the way around. So you've got the tunnel where they're just going to be running through there, or backside, which will attack the back of the hill. Now you've spawned top, which tells you they're pretty much going to be both here and here. So you've just got to be very careful that if you ever spawn top on this hill while this hill is active, that chances are they're probably going to be tunnel, and they're probably going to be in the backside as well. So that's just something you're going to want to try and bear in mind if you can. So yeah, this was readable because of where you spawned. That's fine. So you have just spawned where that guy probably spawned as well. That's fine, but just obviously you've just spawned up top, so be very aware that that guy's done the exact same thing you've just done, so you can understand what sort of situation they were in when they died there. You've literally just been in that situation. A really nice gunfight win. I'd have probably tried to pick up a submachine gun from the floor just because it's a better gun in this situation. But so far so good. Your rotations aren't perfect, but if you reviewed anyone's gameplay, they never are going to be. Even the pros make mistakes. So, but you're 100 points ahead, and you're still in the first rotation. So this is green ticks all around for me. And you're rotating early. You've spawned in. There's 15-20 seconds left of the old hill, and you just decided to rotate to new. So you have info on one player towards P2. You get the kill. You get the second kill. Yeah, this is... I don't know what your end result is, to be fair, but this might be really perfect gameplay. You might go 30-3. I don't know. I haven't really checked the scoreboard at the end. I usually do, but I haven't. But let's just see how you hold this. Now, you just got information on two players. Based on where their dots are on the radar, they haven't quite pushed past ticket yet. So you've got a little bit of time before they get to you. A lot of people only really use the minimap, but it's so much easier to determine which angle they're going to be coming from using the radar, using this compass up here. A little tip, the bigger the dot, the closer they are. The smaller the dot, the further away they are. So that's something you could use to your advantage, just knowing where they are a little bit more. So the center of your screen where you're aiming is where this yellow thing is, where this yellow number and writing is. So you can assume, because the three dots, this is a mark, so it doesn't count. These two dots here come from players that are not quite through ticket yet. If you just draw the line down, they're not quite through ticket yet. Personally, whilst you wait for teammates to help you out, I'd have thrown a stun over the wall and hopefully deterred their push. But otherwise, I like this so far. You're in a bit of an obscure position. He's chowed you there. I think that was a fault on his part. But again, you're playing really simple COD. You're letting them come to you. You're reading where they are really well. That's a bit shaky. Now, you've just killed every single member of the team. The first thing I would think, if I was on the other team, right, there's a guy back right box. I know where he is. He's killed every single one of us there. Let me kill him first. So I'd be very surprised if you survive here much longer. My point is, you've just got 4 kills at this position. Maybe try and move. Again, you've still got a stun, which you could be using that you're not. That's fine. You get a streak, and as I thought, you've just got absolutely taken off of the crate you were on. So you've called in a streak. I don't mind that. I don't think. And from that streak, you get info on someone P2 and then someone mid map. So chances are they're going to be contesting the hill. Nice. That's 2 down on each team. Your teammates has just spawned P3, which alerts you that the enemies are going to be spawning tunnel. Which is, yeah, and you know he's just literally in this door to your left. My only worry as to why you're not pre-aiming it. No, you know your teammates sort of got your back, and you know they're going to be pushing through this side, and you're watching it anyway. You might as well pre-aim. But other than that, really nice use of an AR at close range. Now, if I'm being really picky, now I know I don't expect everything from you. There was a point in this gunfight where you walked over a gun and you decided to reload even though you knew there was an enemy really close. I'd have liked to have seen a little bit of an initiative there, in the fact that you could have just literally pressed square once, picked up the gun, spun around and probably traded your teammate out, but instead you took 3 seconds to reload and then you got a 2-piece, unfortunately. But hey, it is what it is. Again, you're spawning here. There's 30 seconds left. Personally, I'd probably leave this. You get good time. Yeah, you just get 2-piece there, which is unfortunate because a nade came through. So these are terrible spawns for this next hill, because if you spawn in here, all they have to watch is tunnel and they pretty much get every route to the hill from you. Now, you're aware a teammate's just died from someone on your left, so you try and get the kill, but you've been stunned and naded, which obviously isn't great. You've chowed very weak, which is very brave of you, but hey, it is what it is. You got the kill, you didn't get killed from that angle. So you're spawning tunnel, which should tell you what? It should tell you the enemy team are spawning towards tickets, towards P3, on this left-hand side of the mini-map where my cursor is right now. Nice use of a trophy to block your cross, because realistically, the worst thing to happen when you spawn in tunnel is just to have constant nades thrown at you from the other side. So this just stops that from happening. I like that play. Ooh, 2 of you are on the hill. I don't think that's completely ideal. Yeah, that wasn't great. So what could you have done differently here? So you're in a party with this player because he's green, so you've partied up with him. A little bit more communication onto whose job it is to go up would have been ideal here. So either one of you go up, and whoever goes up to the hill needs to not die. You do not want to chow from P2 because it's so easy to die from it, and once you fall from P2, it's really hard to get that back. Instead, because there's 2 of you here, if you're not the person who gets up on top of the hill and are playing your life, the other person should stay at bottom P2, and there are so many head glitches just towards the outside of it, sort of in this area here that you can sit on, which will probably give you like a decent advantage to anyone coming from P5 or like garage side. So yeah, you fall here, and then you spawn. Interestingly, you spawn middle. Now, if the 2 spawns are middle, if the 2 main spawns are tunnel and P3, and you spawned neither of them, what does that tell you? That tells you that the enemy team are pinching from both tunnel and the new hill. So you just got to be very careful that that's what that means, because you're probably going to get pinched if you try and challenge anything too hard. This just comes down to awareness. If we break it down, you've just seen a teammate die from someone who's a while away, like they're in P5, and you've just seen another person shoot. So you do get the first person to shoot, but you should have been very much aware that there was a second person relatively close. So yeah, but that's fine. It's just a little bit more conscious of the minimap there. You probably would have got a free 2-piece. Now, this is fine. So you've spawned in. There's 30 seconds left. Realistically, if you try for the hill, you're probably not going to get there. So you think, right, I'm in a 3-man. If we can just set up here, brilliant. There's 3 ways to watch. We trust the random to do whatever they need to do. But there's one thing that I think you might have noticed here that put a spanner in your works. Teammates have just spawned out. Your teammates aren't spawning on you, which tells you that an enemy is pushing round to this side. So you should be very aware that someone's going to be close by, blocking the spawn you've just spawned at because your enemies have just spawned out. So again, use your stun, use your nade. If you're not sure where they're coming from, drop a nade there. They're not going to run over it. Chances are, I mean, if they're a really good player, they will, because they'll know timings of nades and whatnot. But chances are, if you just drop a nade or a stun in a particular area, enemies are deterred from entering from that area because they think you're expecting it. So if you're on your own and you are aware people are around you, which I think you are, by the way, you're tweaking a little bit, throw a nade, throw a stun, just to try and deter an enemy from pushing. There we are. I think that's the guy who was spawning you out. Your teammate killed him, which is good. Let's see what happens there. So I'm not 100% sure of what everyone's watching the mini-map. Perhaps there's a little bit of confusion as to what the communications are. From here, it looks like one of your teammates top middle or something, and then the other one's back alley. Oh no, not top middle, he's in playground. So I don't know how that guy's managed to get around a flank. That's probably on your teammate from not communicating effectively, I assume. But that gunfight in particular, this is a horrible, horrible, horrible gunfight to try and win. What I'd have done, lay down behind the box, you know where they are, stun, nade, get the kill, get damage, get them stunned, regain, and then reposition. You want to try and get some sort of height on them, force them to overchow. So I'd have probably stayed down here, laid down, and waited for them to push to you. Realistically, there are 3 seconds of a sprint to you. Wait for your teammates to back up and go from there. But you fully committed to the gunfight. You did have an opportunity to back out. But yeah, that's what I'd have done in that situation, or at least try to do. Don't take the challenge. Throw a stun, throw a nade, and regain from there. Good use of trophy. Again, I like that. Nice trade on your teammate. So, when approaching this corner, there's 2 things you want to check first. Well, your teammates, let's just play to this. So, the 2 likely places the enemies are going to be up here or on the bin, or all the way back at the very end of the thing. But I'm going to assume that's not where they are because I can't really draw that on the minimap because there isn't it. So, first thing I like to do is check the bin. So I would have slidden out here, or slid out here, check the top of the bin. If no one's there, grand. But then I would have wide swung almost to this corner here, and then chowed looking up to the top bit here, because this is quite a big off angle. People don't often check that from there. So that's what I'd have done. I'd have checked the bin first, slid to the very back left corner here, and looked at the top, because you're still hidden from front, but it'd have given you a little bit of an advantage. So it's just being a bit aware of where they can be pushing from to win that gunfight, because this is a really horrible challenge. You've chowed almost all 3 of the potential places at once. If they were on the bin, they'd have killed you from here. If they were top, like that, they've chowed you here. If they were long, they get the info you're here. So you sort of want to contain the gunfights in their own areas at once. Contain the head glitches in each of their gunfights. Check the bin, slide across, check top, and go from there. You want to check, because at the point you slide in, you're open to all 3. Your eyes have got to check all 3. Take your time a little bit more there. Check everything. I don't know where that nade's going. I wouldn't be surprised if it team killed. No, there we are. Yeah, other than that, I don't mind too much. So, a spawning front, you've just got 3 down, there's 1 more person up, and they've all died from pushing front, so you should sort of expect the next person to be here. But yeah, I'm not sure what the route was here. I don't know what the plan was here. Perhaps you were trying to get to this corner so you could have a long line of sight across, sort of like in this area. But if that wasn't your plan, you're playing very close range for someone who's got an AR, so just... I'd have probably played a little bit more passively there, but hey, it's hindsight. You didn't know he was there. Okay, so they've called out a streak. No one's died as a result of it, which is good. And you've respawned. And you're rotating, sorry. Again, you know they're in there. Nice, this is perfect. You've learned from your lesson previous to that. They've got a trophy down. And you're waiting for your teammates. You're not sprinting in there. Nice bit of pre-aiming there, pre-firing even. Unlucky. Really unfortunate, but what you've done there is at least got 1. That's all you can do at that position here. You've at least got 1. Now, you've just spawned top, which tells you they could be spawning underneath or tunnel, so just be, yeah. So you've done the exact same thing as you did before. You've jumped down. You're fishing a barrel at this point. You know someone's there, to be fair, so you're very brave for doing this. But you've just died because you didn't check that, or at least, I mean, your teammate hurt you a little bit, but that's a silly chow. You should never really jump down just like that. You should at least slide down the stairs and check it before, you know, just committing to it completely, because you are, as I say, fishing a barrel, I think is the term. Really good use of drop shot, really nice shots. Your fundamentals of COD seem to be really quite good. Interesting, you decide not to rotate. So... Let's see this. So, the 2 situations you have here. Let's just get a bit of background on it. So 3 enemies have just spawned in, or will have been spawning in. Make that 4-ish. Now, two would have spawned already. 3 would have spawned already. Then 1. So you've spawned top, which tells you that they are either they could have spawned back apps at the building back here. That, or they could have spawned beneath you, or they could have spawned the other side of tunnel, which is very, very likely. Now, yes, knowing that, they can win. Your teammates can win at new, but the enemy team are forced to at least challenge it. So what I'd have done here, you've got 3 people around new. I would have personally gone to three people around old. Personally, I'd have rotated to new here just to guarantee the win. Worst case scenario, you're at new and your teammates manage to hold this themselves. Great, you win anyway because your teammates have captured the point. Now, let's say on the flip side of that, your teammates managed to get broken. Now, the only real reason they'd have got broken is if they've lost their gunfights to multiple people on the hill at the old place, which means that even if that's the case, you're at new, you're probably not going to be there with other people on the enemy team there because they'd have chowed old. So your teammates have done a decent job there. Checking tunnel, probably not at the right time. Nice, you've got a rival, pick it up. Unlucky. So you spawn bottom again, which means they're probably spawning sort of laundry side. You're trying to... Ooh, I'd have liked that pinch. That pinch was nice. They pushed out of old. They might be there. But the fact that you didn't rotate at the old hill means they managed to break, unfortunately, and you just weren't there to be paired. So in that situation, I'd always recommend at least... Obviously, every situation is completely different. I'd have recommended going new in that situation specifically. Get a trophy at your feet. Nice. It's like you heard. Nice, you played your life long enough to be unknown. That's tough movement. So you get the kill there. You know someone's across, but you got a little bit of a dead slide because you clicked the container. But yeah, that's fine. 7 seconds to go. Your teammate just needs to get across and play their life. They're going to have to force push him. And the teammates know exactly where he is. Nice little pre... that's rough. That's rough. Are you going to choke this? I actually don't know the end result of the game. I'm hoping you don't lose this. Okay, you've spawned in. You know you've got decent spawns for new because you've been spawning P3s. You've been... That's good. At least they didn't flip you to tunnel. That would have been the worst case scenario there. Very questionable stun. But you get the kill anyway. And shooting bodies. Love that. Absolutely love that. Okay, wow. You spawned in Narnia. So this hill's up. And you've spawned all the way back here. Which means they're coming from P3. There's no way you guys actually choke this. Surely. Good kill. You're one shot. Just wait. There's no rush. Okay. You know where they are. Or at least one is. You could probably kill them if you decided to shoot. And it wouldn't take 8 bullets. I'd have probably chowed this. Or swapped weapons. You don't really want to start reloading there just because your chances are you are just going to die like that. But your teammates get a huge 2-piece. And you win the game. Good job. What's your end result? 31. I don't think we go to see it. Ooh. Whatever it is. It was a good match. 31-22. Solid. So, the good. What did you do really, really well in this gameplay? First of all, your shots are very clean. You have very nice, clean shots. Your accuracy was pretty on point. You learned to... your use of trophy systems were actually almost perfect, I'd say. So credit to you there. Your use of nades and stuns, not bad. You're better than a lot of people I see in Plag. I'm surprised you're in Plag, I'll be honest. And then your rotation awareness is very strong. By that I mean knowing when to rotate is very strong. The only time in which you had a questionable rotation was when you didn't rotate at the old P5, which let them get a lot of P5 and nearly have the comeback. But other than that, your rotations were pretty much on point. Your movement was enough. Your movement wasn't too much. It wasn't overly stylish. It wasn't flashy. It was enough to get the job done. Slide cancels weren't bad. And I think they were pretty good. So generally, the general basics of COD, you've got to a pretty decent level. Obviously, there's always room to fine-tune, and I would recommend always just jumping in a bot lobby to fine-tune your aim, learn to move around the map a little bit more. But I assume, even though you said this is your first competitive COD, I doubt very much this is your first COD because you're a gamer, you're shooting straight and you're moving well. Now, what could you work on? I agree with a lot of the things you've said in your form. The awareness of where enemies are going to be is a little bit of a struggle for you. And that mainly probably comes down to spawn knowledge for the most part. But yeah, I would just honestly take my time studying them, be very aware of where they are, I wouldn't do this in a private match or in a pub lobby because it's not the same, but I would, when you're gaming, be very much aware of where spawns are, and it will soon become second nature. You will always have a sixth sense. Okay, I'm here. That must mean that you won't even have to think about it. So take your time to learn the spawns effectively first, and then it will just become second nature. So that's my first tip for you. If you can, try and do so. The next thing I want to sort of suggest is your use of stuns and nades, and this was a plus, to be fair, because you did use them, but they weren't the best use possible. When you were trying to bait P3, you knew they were in there, you decided to just run in there with an AR. You did get a kill, granted, but it would have been better if you did have a stun and a nade to enter you in first. You'd have maybe got a two-piece if you'd have done that. I then questioned some of the gunfights you take. You agree with you again. The gunfights you're taking on, some of them were very, very brave. So just watch someone who's better than you, watch some content of people who are better than you, see where they hold on a hill and just mimic what they're doing. That's a really handy tip for anyone who doesn't know. So if you see, watch Scump on Skid Row or someone who's incrementally better than you, see where they position themselves, see where they play, as long as they're sort of relative to your play style, and go from there. But if I'm honest, other than awareness, I'm pretty sure you should be higher ranked. I'm not sure how much grind you've put into this. I don't think you had game time on this, but the amount of times you'd spawn in and run ahead and just get shot in the back or just get shot from someone there are most of your deaths. And again, that comes down from not knowing spawns and not just having the general perception of where the enemy's going to be. Part of that's obviously going to be learning spawns, which I've already mentioned, but part of it's going to be game time. So my two things I want you to take away from this are actually, yeah, I'm going to go three. I'm going to go three things. First of all, learn your spawns. Take your time learning them. Have them up on your phone or something when you're in a game. When the new hill pops, glance over at your phone, and you know the spawns from then on. And then obviously it'll become second nature. The second thing I want you to try and work on is trying to be in the best spot available for your gun. You have an AR, make sure you're in gunfights that are going to benefit you as an AR player, so that you're in the best possible place to win said gunfight. I was going to do three. I think that's pretty much going to be it, to be fair. Oh no, the third thing, keep bloody grinding. You've got the potential to be a really class player here. You shoot straighter than a lot of people I see at low Crimson, and I might be rogue here, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, guys, but I definitely, if you just up your game awareness here, I definitely see you reaching Crimson. I know you say you're only plat now. Crimson definitely on the horizon for you, and you know what? You play a little bit more comp COD, you're going to get better. Next COD, I don't think it's unlikely you're going to get to the top rank. So keep grinding, mate. You're doing really well, and yeah, enjoy the gameplay. Thank you very much, and I'll catch you in the next one, guys. Ciao for now.